Hey everybody, welcome to Decipher the Media. This is episode number 18 with Jake Horne, and the first episode of 2021. I know for a lot of you, you've had a rough 2020, so hopefully this is something to kind of start a bit of a positive note for the new year. Even though we do get into a lot of political discussion in this episode. Jake and I sit down and talk a lot about his music he's been creating with his bands Nephele and Space Weather, as well as sort of this volatile political climate that's been going on. We filmed this right around election time last November, and so that was basically everything in the news cycle. And it's just like it gets to the point where it's just so distracting. You just can't ignore what's going on. And we also talk about how that kind of affects things as an artist or as a musician. So it was a very interesting discussion that sort of leans a little more into the political side of things. It makes it very interesting to kind of see that perspective of things. As a creator, as an artist, as a musician, as whoever, you are, this is something that affects you. So we talk about that a lot. And then, like I said, we talk about Jake's new projects that he's working on with his two bands. Basically what's going to be coming up in terms of releases into this new year. And yeah, just some playful banter between the two of us, and basically just catching up on what's been going on in our lives since the last time we worked together. So it was a very awesome discussion. I'm always happy to sit down and talk with Jake, and hopefully you'll enjoy this discussion as well. So without further ado, this is Decipher the Media, episode number 18 with Jake Horne. Enjoy.
Hello.
Okay.
Wah wah wee wah.
Yeah.
Did you see the new Borat?
I did not yet.
Oh,
I haven't even seen the original Borat. I've
Oh
only
my
seen
God.
clips from the original.
You gotta see it. Sacha Baron Cohen is like a genius.
Like,
It's awesome.
yeah, I don't know. I just I know there's parts from that are like really disgusting, and I don't know if I can handle that.
Oh no, Bruno's the really disgusting one.
Oh really?
That's the one where he is like the gay Austrian dude
Yeah.
who does all kinds of crazy stuff. Like Bruno is just, or no, Borat is more like just
political satire type stuff.
Yeah. There's a few parts that have like where he's like purposely, because like the country he's from is like obviously like in the Middle East, so he says like a few like anti-Semitic things, but like they're super lighthearted and it's like not like super like things. It's just like the things that he says are just like, it's hilarious. I love it.
I just know that there's that one like Rudy Giuliani thing.
That's in the new Borat movie.
Like everyone keeps
one.
talking about
Mm-hmm.
that I haven't seen, but it's like gotten so much.
Oh yeah, it is.
Coverage.
He baited a bunch of politicians out into doing shit that they thought they were doing in private, and they were doing it on camera, and he fucking exposed them all for it.
I mean, that's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely something somebody needs to be doing.
Yeah, and he's like, I'm surprised he hasn't like been like attempted to be assassinated with like the amount of political people he's thrown under the bus and shit. Just, it's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know. Like, yeah, that's, I guess probably because he's such a big figure, like that would definitely not go unnoticed.
Yeah, if he did, like, and the thing is, like, even if somebody did do that, people would just be like, oh yeah, conspiracy. It would just add to the conspiracy thing.
Yeah, it would just go, down the same route as the Epstein stuff.
Yeah.
which I actually talked about on one of my last podcasts. It's just kind of funny.
That's what me and Dan were talking about the other day. We went and seen Tenet, and we went and like had like a bro date afterwards at PF Chang's. And me and Dan were just kind of talking about like all this crazy shit that's happening in the country, and that's one of the things we were talking about is like the whole like Alex Jones kind of stuff and
Alex Jones,
Jeffrey Epstein stuff. It's wild.
Have you seen the was it the Alex Jones video where
Making
he's
the frogs gay?
Yeah, it's like a remix though. It's just like a song remix of it. It's just like the best thing ever. Oh God, he's a nut job.
Yeah.
I saw somebody when I was driving down the road the other day had like an Alex Jones sticker on there.
Really?
Yeah, they had like their like I don't know, so like a bunch of like conservative stuff and then Alex Jones. I was like, oh, Jesus.
Like they're too far gone. That person is too far gone.
Like I don't know.
Yeah, all that shit is just insane.
I'm just glad. I hope that we're almost done with all this shit.
Yeah, I'm sick of hearing
like election stuff and whatnot, and I just
I'm ready to not have to pay attention to politics.
Yeah,
again. Like how it was with Obama. Like we didn't have to worry about and talk about shit like every day. It was like, just like
you turn on the news and you're just like you're clenching your cheeks because you just don't know like what to expect.
Yeah, like this happened on Twitter today. A war ignited from Twitter. And it's just like, what?
Just like the beginning of this year when there was like all that World War III stuff going on. You're just like, what the hell just happened?
Yep, and this whole fucking year has just been garbage. The whole entire fucking year.
I was like, what did we just enter into? And it's just been that keeping that trend the entire year.
Non-stop shit.
So, oh boy. Only a little less than 2 months left, but you know, people don't understand that just because it's going to turn 2021 doesn't mean that everything's just going to automatically be fixed. Like we might end up in more crazy shit next year for one reason or another. Yep. Not even politically, but like just in general. Like like this pandemic. God, I don't know.
It's been terrible.
Yeah,
it's been fucking horrible.
Like I don't know when. Because people are projecting now. It's just like every time I hear it, it's like they keep pushing back when we might have like a vaccine or something like that. And now it's like we might not see something until like next fall or some shit like that. And I'm just like, oh God.
Yeah. And we're at their mercy. We're at everybody's mercy.
And it's just like the people who just don't have the patience for that. They're just going crazy about it and
making it worse and anti-maskers and shit. It's just it's ridiculous.
Like it's terrible.
Yeah. Yep.
But
people are terrible.
People are terrible. But you know what's not terrible?
This podcast.
Oh, well, thanks. I was going to say something. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I was going to say you or
thanks. Thanks. I'm definitely not the kind of person to gas myself up like that.
But appreciate that. So, yeah, what have you been up to?
Nothing much. Just kind of working and working on band stuff, working on the new Nephele single that we're going to be releasing in the next month or two.
Yeah, I think the last Nephele stuff that I had on my podcast, it was with Dan, so he was the last one to talk about. I think that was right before you guys released your last EP. I had you guys on and we talked about it. I think even before we shot the music video.
Yeah, I think that was before the music video shoot.
So that was a while. That was a year ago at this point. But yeah, so you guys have that out the door now. Which congratulations, if I didn't get a chance to say that.
I appreciate it.
So, and yeah, you're already working on new stuff, which is cool.
Yep, we got a 4-song EP that we're working on making demos for right now.
Yeah.
And we have the remaster of Fortitude from our original EP, Echoes, that will be getting mixed and mastered here soon.
That's awesome.
From our friend Jimmy Glass at Glass House Recordings.
Awesome. So, do you have like an ETA on those, or are you just kind of because of? I mean, I know things have been crazy with.
Yeah, things have been just hectic with everything, but we're working on it, and Jimmy's handling some stuff. We're all handling some stuff, and I think Fortitude will be out before the end of the year.
Oh, that's good.
Definitely be out in like the next like month or two. Should be out before December.
Yeah.
Hopefully, because it's not like it's like an album or it's like a single for an album or anything. So we're just, as soon as it's done.
Yeah, it's just its own thing.
We're dropping it basically as soon as it's ready.
That's gonna be that, and then you can get to promote it and all that stuff. And
yeah.
Hopefully, I mean, I don't know when. They probably no time soon they'll be doing live shows again, but
Yeah, I can't wait for live shows because we had both Nephele and Space Weather had a lot of shows and things booked and ready to go, and just this whole pandemic kind of smothered all that. It did for everybody, every band. So
yeah,
I'm sympathetic for everybody in a band now.
It's unfortunate because the live music scene is sort of getting hit hard right now.
Oh yeah, yep. Like, all these venues are closing. The Rex is closed. All these places.
I was so heartbroken by the Rex.
Oh yeah,
like that was one of my favorite places to go. And when I got that news, that was terrible. Mm-hmm. I thought I silenced my phone.
No, that was me. It may have been you.
That was me.
Oh,
I'm a terrible.
Surprised you have service out here.
Well, sometimes it just takes a while to get here if I do get something.
You just got a bulk of like 30 messages all at once.
It's basically what happens.
Yeah. Oh, that's the loudest sound on earth. I just don't even know.
Your giant drumsticks.
Yeah, I don't know what to do with these. I want to do something with them, but I don't know.
Record something with them, or?
Yeah, just go over and hit my drums. I can reach my drums from here.
Why can I not? I'll just
like
set it.
Baseball bat.
I think if I set it to do not disturb, it'll not do that. Or just sit it over here so it's not vibrating on the table.
Like, you doing practicing your paradiddles, or are you like home defense system? Because both of those.
You can go to bat with that.
Oh yeah.
So.
Do you have any questions or anything lined up? Anything specific you had lined up to talk about?
No.
You just kind of just roll with it when you.
Yeah, just kind of roll with it. I was thinking about where we just left off with that before.
Band stuff, basically.
Yeah,
like
band
the whole
stuff.
Scene and everything.
Yeah, because the Rex closed, and that was real devastating. And they've been trying to do like a whole bunch of funds, which I saw like they post that, and then other places are like trying to do different things for profit now. Like they'll have like food and stuff they'll try to sell and delivery for food, and like Spirit does a lot of that on like weekends. They'll do like food delivery services. I see them posting about stuff.
Yeah, they need to. Everybody like that's one thing I was bummed about when the Rex went down, was like I wish they would have like they announced that it was closing, and they like a week or so before that they had posted a thing like, oh, here's a like donate funds to like help our like employees or whatever, like everybody who's laid off from this. But like nobody really posted anything saying like, hey, the venue's possibly like in trouble, like why not just like kind of suck up your pride a little bit and just kind of post a thing and be like, hey, like here's a fundraiser, like here's a GoFundMe or something to help maybe pay our bills for like a little bit longer or something like that. But I guess with like how you can't predict how long this is gonna last, I guess they don't want to have that like weight on everybody's shoulders and like the scene's shoulders to keep the venue alive, unless they had a plan for like going somewhere else with it or something, kind of like how the Altar Bar did. Altar Bar just kind of didn't renew their lease and went to the Roxy, and now I'm pretty sure that's
the same people.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of the same staff from the Altar Bar working at Roxy and doing sound and stuff like that, so it looks like the Altar Bar's kind of shifted to a newer, way nicer venue. Yeah,
and they probably needed it too, because that from what I heard, that church was kind of garbage to like play in, because the acoustics in there were just terrible. Mm-hmm. It was not designed to.
I feel like it wasn't necessarily even the acoustics. I feel like it was the structure of the building, because like there were shows where like they'd be like, all right, everybody jump, like get off your feet, and you jump, and like if you were downstairs taking a piss or something, dude, you heard that whole entire place like boom, boom, like sounded like the whole place was about to come down.
Well, that was the thing that like everybody complained about, was like all the like the sound would like absorb into like the bathrooms downstairs. Mm-hmm. So like it had to be super loud in that room.
Yeah, and that's what it always was loud. Those shows at the Altar Bar, but that's the Roxyans, like probably the loudest venue in the entire city. I've seen I think I've seen like 3 shows there since they've started.
I haven't actually. I was supposed to go see a show at some point,
Yeah.
probably before the pandemic happened, and then that probably got canceled. But yeah, I haven't been there yet.
Every show I saw there was, I had to, if I didn't have my earplugs in, I was like miserable the whole time because it was just like hurting my ears how loud it was. Like, just,
Really?
I don't know if it's the acoustics or what, but
That's the thing about some of those venues is they're just like, depending on the size or just how they're laid out or how much they kind of structure it for the sound. You know, it can be like real just deafening.
oh yeah.
And it just kind of takes away from the experience. Like that Smiling Moose kind of does that. Like I've been like half deaf for like 2 days after going to a show there because it's just like it's kind of a smaller room, so it just like more sound just kind of pumps into there, and just like if you're not wearing like earplugs or anything like that, it just like messes with your hearing so bad.
That's why I highly advocate for people to get like those eargasm things. You can get them like Amazon. They're like $30 or something.
Yeah.
Plug them in, like they're the high fidelity things to where we can be sitting here having a conversation perfectly fine. Nothing, it like doesn't stop that. It basically just like knocks out like dangerous like high and low frequencies.
Yeah.
You throw those things in. And
Are
it's
those
just
those
like,
ones that have like the little funnel thing in them? You like plug them in, and they just have like this little earpiece that like it'll just filter.
yeah.
Okay, I think I have a set like that.
Yeah, like you have like a little thing. I have one on my keychain actually on my keys where like I just like if I'm at a show, it's the most convenient place to have them is on your keychain. Unscrew it, pop both of them in, and like I can sit there and talk to people, but like I can hear the music like more like clearly when I have those in, and it's not like I'm just being like bombarded. My ears don't hurt, and I don't have a migraine afterwards. I just like walk out and I like feel 1,000 times better from having those
That's
in.
definitely happened to me before. I was at like a show at Spirits, and like the sound and the vibration was just like so bad for this one band because they were just like so like just the way that they play was like so like I don't know what the word I'm looking for, like really persistent, like a very persistent like loud noise.
Yeah, it was like just monotonous, kind of like the same tone like coming at you the whole time.
It actually started to like make me sick because it kept like vibrating like my stomach, and like I was like I might have to throw up. I'll be right back.
Yeah, dude, I've been to shows like that
And
before,
just
like in Stage AE and stuff, where I'm like seeing somebody and just like if it's like bass or something like that, just like at a certain pace, it like almost like rivals your heart rate and stuff, and it just like kind of gets you like worked up. And I've gotten sick from like really high bass stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I understand that.
Needless to say, I was not a fan of that band, but luckily they were like the first band that played, so their set was pretty short.
Yeah. I've been to those shows before where it's like Buck Cherry opens up and it's like it's like, all right, let's get the clown show out of here. Like you see all their fans and stuff just like, get out of here.
Oh yeah, Trapped. Look, there's Trapped in there. Two fans that they have.
Yeah, Trapped. Ooh, they're a good band. Good fan base.
I heard or I read some. Where did I hear somebody was like trying to talk up Trapped, and I was just like, oh no, don't.
Yeah.
Why are you defending them?
Yeah, don't defend. They don't even defend them. I don't even think Trapped defends themselves. They just like kind of spew and throw whatever they have going on out there. And
just wild whatever. And
yeah, just like super right wing.
Yeah.
Like, rhetoric stuff, and it's just kind of like, ugh. No one wants to hear that.
You have no platform to talk. You had like one song that was a hit.
Yeah, literally.
Like
riding off of Headstrong for the rest of their career.
Yeah. I mean, granted, I listened to them when I was in high school. I think I listened to them for a while, but I listened to a lot of garbage in high school. So
everybody did.
Like
when the radio's blasting Headstrong, you ain't gonna turn that off.
Like that. Like I had CDs for Trapped, Nickelback, all the greatest hits. Creed, Avenged Sevenfold.
We've all been there.
Yeah, it was before I got out of that phase of my life of the only band that I really still appreciate to this day out of that group was probably Linkin Park.
Oh
like,
yeah, dude, still.
I mean, not as much their newer stuff, but like their first 2 albums are just like
unrivaled.
Yeah,
I defend them still till this day on like Facebook and social media, talking about nu metal and stuff. People always talk about those genres, and that's like I really don't even have an opinion from them because I was like 6 when Hybrid Theory came out. So
Yeah.
like I'm like going to middle school with my hair spiked up, wearing polo shirts, thinking I'm relating to Chester Bennington's lyrics about like depression that he's dealt with his entire life. And I'm
Yeah.
6 years old, like living my best
jeez.
life, like outside collecting grasshoppers and blades of grass. And
Yeah.
he's singing about like how he's dealt with this shit his whole entire life and everything. And I'm just
Man,
I'm like, yeah, this is the best.
That just hits hard when you think about like him, you know, committing suicide and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Like that just like makes it so much more of a powerful message.
Yeah.
Like what type of struggle he was really going through, and like makes you really think about those lyrics, and it's, you know.
Oh yeah, and every single song, it's like he knew what he was doing, and he essentially made a career off of his own suffering. Like he knew what he was dealing with and dealt with it obviously as long as he could for what he did. But I mean, and it bums me out whenever I hear people like get mad, and like people are like, oh yeah, like he had all that money, he has all those kids, and like how could he possibly do that? Because people seeing it from their standpoint.
Yeah, people don't just understand like what it's like to go through that.
Yeah, like money doesn't like cure depression. Like that's the number one. Like that should be everybody's clue.
Like,
that
it's
money
like,
isn't gonna.
You know, it's like somebody who's just like tells you to cheer up when you have depression. It's like that's not how that works at all.
Yeah, it's literally like a chemical imbalance in your body that like you can't control. And honestly, I mean, you can control. I feel like it's a 50-50 because like I feel like your chemical imbalance is like an exact like a chemical reaction to like what you do with your time and like what you think about constantly. Because if you're working the same job and you're doing like the same pattern thing every day for so long, I feel like eventually your body just gets like like gets put on autopilot. And then whenever you try to think outside of like, wow, like what have I done? Try to reflect on things that you've like gotten done and stuff like that. It's kind of just like like how I've been like during this whole pandemic. I had so many things I wanted to get done, so many projects and everything. And then when I went back to work and I worked, even on my time off, like there's nothing to do. There's nowhere to go, nothing to do. It's just everything has just been like at a standstill and sucks.
And I mean, that's kind of like how I've been is like when that all started, it just like everything got like all the things I had planned just got put to a halt. And like I just like got into a routine where I just like, for a while, I just didn't have the like motivation to really do anything because it's just like it was that state of mind where you're stuck at home. There's nowhere to go, nothing to really do. You're not supposed to be going out and, you know, seeing people and stuff like that. And then like you just kind of slip into like this state of mind that you just get comfortable with, where you know you're just kind of just like, whatever. You know, just like ride it out and, you know, just kind of for the long haul.
Yeah. I mean, that's how it was, I feel like, for everybody. And it didn't help that, like, everything coming together now, it's like seasonal depression is stacking on top of, like, regular depression. And it's just like the changing of the seasons. I went from, like, feeling, like, okay to, like, feeling, like, tired, like below okay. Like now every day I'm just like feeling like garbage. I should come home like no matter what, feeling just like this weight on my shoulders, and I'm just like everything's just telling me go to sleep, take a nap, go to sleep, you're tired. And it's just like when you look outside and it gets dark at 4:30, 5 o'clock now. Yeah. And like the only thing that we had to look forward to back then was like, oh, you can go outside, there's some activities you can go do, you can go run or go do anything. And it's obviously we have this weird spell of like warm weather going into fall, but like I've already mentally prepared myself for pumpkin spice and like 40-degree weather and raining and wet feet. Yeah. And none of that is happening right now. So it's like, it's weird.
You already have that state of mind, and it's just like November, and all of a sudden we're back into 70 degrees.
Yeah, it's like summer, and like we're talking about like football playoffs and everything like that. And I'm just like, what? And hockey just ended like a month or two ago, and hockey usually ends in June. And when hockey came back, it was weird, and especially sucked for Penguins, for Pittsburgh people, for Penguins fans, because the Penguins came back playing awful, and the Steelers came back playing the best football they've ever played, which like, they're playing right now. Hopefully they get this dub against the Cowboys. I don't even know what the score is because we're recording this right now.
Yeah, I don't pay attention to sports at all. So
I usually don't pay attention to football this time of year because usually hockey's happening.
Yeah.
So I don't have to pay attention to football because usually the Steelers are choking like crazy. But this year it just works out that they're killing it when hockey's not happening. So it's a win. It's a win. It's entertainment.
Yeah, I mean, I understand people who love to support their local teams and whatnot. It's just like I've never been much of a sports guy, so like outside of like I've gone to a couple hockey games back in my day, in my prime, and I don't really miss any of it. So I played sports in high school, but that was about it. So
I played baseball when I was real young for like 9 years. I wrestled for a few years. I played hockey in high school. And I've basically just been playing hockey since. And just recently this year with COVID happening, I got into disc golf. A few of my friends got me into that.
Oh my God.
And I've just been absolutely loving that, which I guess it's like a whole thing that happens in your late 20s and early 30s that you just get into disc golf because like everybody that does it is like the same age as me or older, and I'm just like, I didn't even know what the sport was.
Yeah, it's weird because it came out of nowhere for me, and people just started talking about disc golf, and I'm like, what the fuck is disc golf? Did somebody just make this up all of a sudden, and then like it just became a thing, and like
that's what
why have I never heard of this like in my entire life? But now everybody's playing it, and that and like axe throwing like became like a big thing. Like people just like all of a sudden now there's all these places you can go. They just like toss like axes at like targets and shit, and I'm just like, I don't understand this at all or why it became a thing, but I guess it gives people stuff to do.
Exactly. People like throwing stuff. I mean, whether you're throwing an axe or throwing a frisbee at a tree, pick your poison basically.
I'd rather just like go to Dave and Buster's or something like that, but
exactly.
To each his own, and I guess now's not really a good time to go to Dave and Buster's, but
Dave and Buster's even open right now with all this happening? Their arcade probably isn't because of everybody touching things. And
that's a good point. I don't know.
But then again, I mean, I'm pretty sure most places are open. I just didn't really look back into it because like I just found out like last night that like bowling alleys and stuff are open right now with like public bowling balls. Like if bowling alleys are open, then Dave and Buster's has got to be open. Like, those balls, everybody uses those. Everybody uses the same shoes.
I think they just have like really strict like cleaning procedures to COVID and stuff like that. But I know some places like didn't, like there was an arcade in Southside that just closed. I didn't even know about it honestly, but
really,
I just read an article about them having to shut down because they haven't really been, or they were closed for a while when it was like mandatory, and then they tried to like figure out a plan to open back up, but like keep everyone socially distant and whatnot. But I guess like they still weren't making a whole lot of money, so they had to like close down recently, which again goes back to like that, businesses closing and venues and stuff like that. Just like people getting hit hard by the pandemic.
Oh yeah, and I feel like a lot of that also plays into like I was saying, the mentality of it. I feel like just so many people's like ambition and like there's no like nothing pushing you right now. There's no like motivation. Like even with music and writing music and stuff like that, Dan, like bless that man, bless that Dan, because he just is a writing machine, and I absolutely am a big fan of that because I've been writing and trying to write and keep up with him. And I also have, like, when coronavirus happened, obviously, like, everybody being stay at home, like, the whole stay at home thing. Tony of Space Weather he got, like, laid off, and Dan got laid off at the same time. And those two both just, like, stacked up content, like, to the roof. And, like, with everything happening, I lost, like, motivation with things. I had so many plans. Like, I remodeled this room. I got a bunch of gear. I got, like, all this stuff for photography and videography and stuff.
Yeah.
And I just like lost motivation, like physical motivation, especially with gyms closing, because like I was the healthiest I'd ever been because I've been going to gyms.
And I haven't been to a gym since
Exactly.
March because of all that. I've been trying to like put together a home gym, but like getting the motivation of exercise at home is like, it's so hard compared to like actually going somewhere and exercising. Like,
it's completely different. Even me and Dan were talking about this the other day. Is like, apparently Planet Fitness is open now to where you can work out on the machines and like take your mask off while you're on the machine so you can like breathe. But even that is
I
just
wouldn't
like,
risk that. Like I don't want to be around someone that's like
sweating all over the place.
Sweating and breathing right next to me or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to deal with it, because I go to Crunch Fitness down in the waterfront.
Oh, okay.
And, yeah, they open back up. Well, another thing that was really annoying is they, like, started charging me again, like, even though I wasn't, like, going. And it's just like, it's such a pain to have to deal with that stuff.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's a whole different story. But, yeah, and it's like they started doing, like, where they were just like, whatever, yeah, just do whatever. And if you don't, I guess LA Fitness is another one where you don't have to wear a mask and stuff, because I remember somebody at my work was saying about that, like, oh yeah, I just go in, I don't have to wear a mask. And I was like, I just, like, I can't, like that. I feel like that's the worst place you could go, like in the middle of in the middle of like the virus, like, spreading around. Like,
it's like a hotbed for it.
Yeah.
The whole environment, like the air circulating through, the heat making everybody perspire, and just like everybody's bodily fluids just are being exerted all over the place. Everybody's touching things. Everybody's sharing the same machines. You're touching all over the machine and stuff. It's just, there's no clean way to do any of that.
And I love going to the gym because I hate exercising outside. Like, I don't know what it is, but I just hate, like, going for a run outside is, like, impossible for me. Like, I just don't have the motivation. Well, it's more like, it's just like, I like just like standing in place and exercising, like going on a treadmill where you're just sitting in one place and exercising, so I can just tune out.
Yeah.
Because then I don't have to, like, think about, what I'm doing. Yeah. And I can go for longer then. As opposed to, like, if I go outside to exercise, then I'm thinking about, like, how far it is, and, like, I start getting into that mindset of, like, I don't really want to go this far, and, like,
and you got to go back and stuff like that, so you can push yourself harder. You can go more miles when you're, like, in one spot, when you can just step off and go grab your clothes and leave if you want to.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just like, it's harder for me, and I've been trying to look into, like, getting, like, a home, like a stationary bike or something like that, at least, to, like, do that from home, because I'm just, like, cardio has just been, like, almost gnawing. I go for walks and stuff, but that's about it. Yeah. Like, cardio has just been, like, completely gone from
I feel like there's, like, there probably is, like, a science behind it, but, like, obviously I just feel like when you get your blood flowing more, you, like, feel better and you have, like, more motivation. Like, I feel like when I feel like when your body sits stagnant for so long, you just, like, your mind just kind of, like, rots. I feel like there's, like, a direct correlation to your blood not being forced through your body, because, like, I've had days, like, before everything closed, I'd have days where I'd work super long days doing flooring. Like, obviously I'm on my knees, like, kicking, doing all kinds of really heavy, intense stuff. Right. And I'd be in pain, and people, like, my customers would be like, oh, you obviously don't have to go to a gym. I'm like, yeah, I do. Like, none of this work is, like, makes me feel good. Like, all this does is make me feel sore and feel like shit at the end of the day. It doesn't mean I'm, like, getting stronger from it.
It's all about form and stuff. Like, if you're not doing, like, proper form with, like, what you're doing, then you're not really, like, helping your body at all.
Yeah, I'm literally just beating my body down and making it worse.
You're not conditioning your body in a helpful way.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, so, like, and that's, I agree with, like, it's like, even if I just, like, go for a walk down, like, Southside or something like that, down the street to go somewhere, like, I feel great, like, when I get back, and it's just like, because I'm, like, getting out, stretching my legs and getting some fresh air, and, like, it's just like, it's a chemical thing that your body just, like, helps you with, and it helps you to kind of, like, it's definitely been helping me to, like, it motivate me to get back into projects, and, like just getting out there and just get, just change the scenery, moving around a little bit, and just kind of helps my, my brain to, work a little better than just sitting around all day. And, and since I've been working my job from home a lot, that's another thing that doesn't help much.
You don't have a commute, you don't see people, you're just, like, in one area, forced to be in that area all day long, and you got to try to motivate yourself to even work, which, like, working from home is probably 10 times harder than working at the office, because you know what to do, and you're getting that office mindset when you drive to work, and it's because that routine thing we were talking about. Once you get into, like, a routine, you, like, know what to do, and it just becomes like second nature.
Like, getting out of that routine, especially, like, I don't know, when I'm at home, I just, like, I can't get into a routine as easily, like, as opposed to, like, and usually when I am at my most productive is, like, when I go out and I sit at, like, a coffee shop or something like that and have a computer in front of me, and I can think when I'm outside of, like, my home, because it's just, like, being in a different environment just gets me into a better mindset. Like, you don't have, like, all these distractions, you don't have it's just like that feeling of like you're sitting at home and you're just like, oh, well, I can just relax and, veg out and whatever else.
I don't have to work right now. Like, it's just like all up to yourself. Like your mind is like telling you like, oh, you don't have to do this. Like you have a couch right here, and obviously your body's like more likely more times than not going to say like, oh yeah, this is the easier route. I'm just going to go just hang out. Or there's too many distractions.
Yeah.
Too. Like you
Absolutely.
see like all your consoles and stuff like that. Like me, that's another thing for me is like I'll get home and I'll have projects and drum parts and things I need to be working on. And all like my friends will be like, hey, like who's hopping on? Like who's getting online tonight? And I'm just like, fuck. And I'm like, I can't leave the boys hanging because like I just love the camaraderie. I love like my friends and hanging out with people and being able to socialize. Because in a time like now where you're like isolated and away from everybody, any little bit of interaction with friends is just like relieving and stuff like that. So it's like Call of Duty
definitely
and stuff.
helpful. And so it's just but it's just like a little too much of that, and you can get into that mindset where you just like don't, it's hard to get back into what you want to do with your time. So like I completely understand that. Like it's just, I've been trying to like do this new thing lately where when I'm working on my projects, even like this right now, I time myself. Like I start keeping track of how much time I'm putting into like stuff like this, and I try to set a goal for each day. So like if I'm doing like, I don't know, I try to do like 4 hours like each day of like just like production stuff or like stuff that whatever, video, audio, recording, streaming, website, whatever is related to that tech stuff. So I like, outside of my normal job, I like try to dedicate at least 4 hours, or at least try to go for that goal each day. So I know how much time I'm putting into this, and it's not like I lose track of, just doing something else that's not productive, and then I just lose track of time, and then I'm just like a week goes by and I haven't done anything because I just like fell off of that horse. So like kind of helps me to motivate me if I just like time myself and just like keep that mentality. It's like, well, here, like, writing down like, oh, well, here's how many hours I put into this day, and then it's like, well, I didn't do anything this day, so I got to pick it up for this day, and like stuff like that.
And you got to like try to motivate yourself with all the shit going on, especially like the election stuff happening. That was like super stressful, and like obviously everybody's like all the division happening in the world and like everything and all the ads. Like you can't even escape it. You go to YouTube, go to watch a video or go do something, and you got 2 like minute-long unskippable ads you have to watch. That's like you're being like forced to see. It's like, oh my god.
Yeah, I was like watching it. Like anytime I would try to watch Hulu, I have the Hulu that with the ads, so I don't pay for the one that you can get rid of the ads, because I already have like so many streaming services that I pay for. But and it was like every 10 minutes they would like do like a Trump or a Biden ad, and I'm just like, I just don't want to think about this right now. I'm watching this so I don't have to think about, like, at least for like half an hour, like what's going on in the world. Like just like let me relax and not worry about the state of the world. Like,
hold on real quick, I'm gonna my snare wires, I'm hearing us echoing through them. We go there we go. That gets rid of some echo too.
Oh, okay.
That sound was bothering me. Every time we'd hit like a certain note, it'd be like, and I was like, ooh. Oof.
I don't think it was picking it up on these mics, but it doesn't hurt. Yeah. So, and it's interesting seeing things from an outside perspective too, because it's like, we're like right in the middle of like, a really stressful time and in like the country and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, I talked to somebody messaged me on Instagram who like lives in the UK, who like follows me, and she was telling me about like, well, this doesn't just affect you guys, like this affects the entire world. Like where you are, we have a magnifying glass on you, and like whatever happens with you guys, like it has ripple effects to like the rest of the world. So this isn't just like an issue for just you. Like it's not isolated. So it was interesting kind of seeing an outside perspective on that, and like, this really stressful time isn't just
stressful for us.
Just stressful for us. It's stressful for everybody all around the globe.
Oh, and I can see why. I mean, you got like a superpower like the United States, and if you have somebody that's like as unhinged as our president of the last 4 years as like, and you got that guy in control of, you got his hand being able to, that button, he's in control of that button. You know, it's like this guy's tweeting, and just like when you see somebody with that their mood like fluctuates that much, you don't want somebody that moody in control and have that much power. So it's like you'd rather have somebody like,
or even just like keeping good relations with other people, and like you know, all the things that we like the what's it called, the accord that we pulled out of for environmental stuff. The Paris Accord? No, it's I'm
trying to think. I know what you're saying, but yeah, like how like the whole Trump administration was just like neglecting all the environmental stuff. Like the passing the thing of like letting coal mines be able to dump in like local streams and like shit like that, and like just little things like that. I mean, I'm not a political person, but when I see things that when you see that many alarming things in your news feed and you see this many like red flags, it's like, okay, I guess I have to care about politics now, even though I don't want to give any fucks about politics at all. It's just
like when we're being so like, I don't know, it's just when we get to that point where we're just like, we aren't agreeing with the rest of the world, that's a really alarming thing.
Yeah.
Like, and you know, that's saying a lot about, you know, how divisive we're being, and just I don't know, it's a scary thing to think of.
And I mean, I even seen on like talking about how the world reacts to this is, I seen last night, I was watching the news, like I think it was like the local news or something. They were showing like towns and big cities all across the world, all across the country, like celebrating, like finding out the news that like Biden is like the predicted candidate and stuff like that. And then they were showing like global. They were showing like France, like with like a big light on the Eiffel Tower, and they were ringing like church bells and stuff like that. And they were like, they didn't even do this when World War II was won. Like like not trying to compare the World War II victory to this guy being out of the Oval Office, but it's crazy seeing the rest of the world literally celebrating. And again, with politics, I'm not a political person, but when you see our president like becoming friends with and hanging out with like Putin and like Kim Jong-un, and like he's like becoming allies with these bad guys, it's like, okay, the bad guys are all like teaming up,
trying to like blur the line between what is good and what is bad. And it's just like people, like the people that follow him, like they think like this is like, oh yeah, this is great, this is like, no, this is
everybody
like, this is, you know, this is pretty bad. Like you're falling into that mindset where, I mean, I don't want to like, because it always gets compared to like compare it to like how like Hitler got started, but it's like kind of like that thing where he got a following from
like a cult following, to where people were like, how like in the United
like
States
they
people
thought like he everything he was saying or doing was like, yeah, we're fully behind all this. And it's like, yeah, like it gets so overused when people compare him to Hitler, but
it's there's so many things that are like it. Like you saw like during the World War II stuff, you seen propaganda and you seen his face and his name plastered everywhere as if he was a god. And now like this, like you drive around and you see people like have basically monuments in their yards to this dude. Like people like just make their whole personality. They have their vehicles with like flags all over it. They have like paint their trucks and stuff like that. People are just like love the dude. Like it's
I read somewhere that like we're the only country that really like goes to the extent of like making it seem like it's almost a popularity contest. Like
it is.
Like we just like plaster all this like, you know, the name and the you know, bumper stickers and you know these big flags with their names on it and banners and pictures, and like we like, I don't think any other country really does that when they vote, or you know, any democratic country that does have a voting system in place. That's not really how they kind of see their candidates. We're the only country that kind of does it that way, where we're just like, you know, we have to show our pride towards who we support. And like,
exactly, like people will like they'll like take a bullet for their candidate and stuff like that. It's like, you don't have to be like that kind of person.
I'm always, you know, I support like our country, but it's like you have to also be critical of your country. Like that's a big thing. Is like you can't be all 100% of the time just like, yeah, this is the right direction no matter what they do.
Yeah.
Like you have to like, you have to pick and choose like what basically do your research and understand what is going on, and not just fully go in blindly supporting whatever is happening. Like just because you voted for that person, like
you have to stand by whatever they say. Like you don't have to be like that. You can disagree with things that they say, and I feel like that was like the problem with Trump, is that so many people made him like embodied him, and they were like, okay, whatever this guy says is true. Like oh, he's saying the scientists are wrong. Oh yeah, the scientists must be wrong. And it's like, no,
he just says that shit just to like, like that's just his thing, is like he'll just say whatever, and
it's
a
law.
lot of it is like false information, but people just like that support him just like immediately think, oh yeah, he's completely correct. Like that's
law.
100%. Like whatever he says goes.
It's
and it's just like it's dangerous. It's absolutely dangerous when you have someone like that in a place of power like that.
And one thing that I think is crazy about this election is a lot of things and a lot of memes and pictures and stuff people were making is like they would show like oh, like this is the difference in the world, like of this person gets elected, and this is the difference of this person getting elected. And it was like two airplanes flying over a country, like dropping bombs, and they were both dropping like the same bombs or whatever. And like one said Democrat, and it had like a rainbow flag, it had like the Black Lives Matter thing on it, it had like a lot of things on it. And then the Republican one was just blank, but it's just like, if you're saying that Democrats, like the Democratic side is the only side that is accepting of people who do things differently, and the Republican side doesn't support that, then like I don't understand why we're not why not more people from both sides are supporting people of doing like things like that, like races and people who are like gay and stuff like that. They should be everybody from both sides should be supporting that. It shouldn't be just like, oh, liberals, only liberals
and that was
are in the LGBTQ community.
That was a big thing, and I see that a lot in like social media. Is like, it's like basically like people were just straight up at that point like, listen, if you support Trump, you're basically supporting like racism and like anti-LGBTQ stuff, and like because he was all basically against that stuff, and I mean, probably wouldn't openly admit it, but he definitely hinted at it a lot of times.
And I mean, even at the debate when he was asked to denounce racism, he gave like the most softest answer ever. Like he if you talked about like liberals or anything like that, his things, he would absolutely shit on them and be like, oh, they're the worst, Democrats are ruining the country. But you would never ever see him out there saying racists are ruining the country, like the alt-right are ruining the country. He would never say that because he knew that was his demographic that he was appealing to. And if he shit on racists, he was shitting on his own supporters.
That's dangerous. Like that shouldn't be, I don't care who you appeal to, you shouldn't be appealing to those types of people.
Yeah, you shouldn't appeal to hate whatsoever. And I'm not saying
like just to get some votes. Like
I
don't know. What were you gonna say?
I'm not saying like every person who's a Trump supporter is a racist. I'm just saying every racist you see is a Trump supporter. Like you don't see people out there like hooting and hollering and saying all kinds of racist shit, saying like, oh yeah, and then say that they're a liberal. Like there is no liberals,
and it shouldn't be that black or white.
Exactly. Like there should be a middle ground, and I think that's what I'm not saying Joe Biden is going to be the greatest president in the world or even going to be a good president, but he's a better president than the worst president this country has ever seen, and is a step somewhat in the right direction. Like I feel like things will be more calm, and like people like me and you who don't care about politics can go back to not caring about politics because you don't have somebody who's constantly on their phone starting World War III by talking shit or saying or spreading some false information or sharing some tweet from some conspiracy page about coronavirus numbers or some bullshit like that. I can just go back to saying like, okay, politics are for people who care about politics. I want to go write music and do things without all this shit being slammed in my face and thrown about. Like, that's all I'm happy about with this election results, is that I don't have to hear that dude's name.
And
anymore.
I mean, it is. I mean, people might say like, well, politics don't directly relate to like, say, what you do or what you but I think it totally does.
Yeah.
It totally affects how you go about your day and like what you do and like, you know, a lot of things. That's how this country is run, is like based on like who's in charge and how things are done. And then that sort of like, you know, that echoes to like, you know, parts of your life and like how you're affected and how, you know, if you're seeing this stuff in the news and then it affects your sort of mental state of mind. And not only that, but like the direct cause of like, say like for example, the stimulus check stuff. And like, it's like people needed that money, and like then they got the first check and then they were trying to like get, you know, more, and then like nobody could agree on anything. And then it's like you have to think about who that's all affecting. Like it's not just like
either side. It's not affecting Democrats or Republicans. Like you're not owning libs by not giving the American people money that they need in a trying time. It's like you're fucking over
and
all
it's like,
American
like
people.
Especially like artists in particular. And it's just like you know, people like that. It's like a lot of people that I work with, or that I've worked with in the past, like colleagues in like film or video, like they were hit hard by the pandemic, because you couldn't go out and film stuff like you could before. And so they needed that money more than ever. And it's not just like, it's not a you know, a Democrat or Republican issue, like you said. It's just like these are people's lives are at stake. Like, and these creative individuals, like, you know, say what you know, despite your opinion, like, you know, you might think, oh, those types of jobs you don't need, you know, to get by. And it's like, well, you kind of do. Like, when it comes down to it, like you know, you think about it, you know, let's say a grocery store, like a grocery store is necessary. Well, how do you promote a grocery store? You create materials for it. How do you get those materials? You hire graphic designers, video producers, stuff like that. You know, so, you know, they can get the word out about, hey, you know, you need to go buy groceries for your everyday living. You know, these resources, you know, this is how, you know, we communicate. You know, this is how we get the message out. You know, it's you know, these are still necessary things in our lives that we need. And, you know, they need to, you know, they need to survive one way or another. And, you know, that's affected by, you know, whether or not we, you know, provide necessary funding in a trying time. You know, if that makes sense at all.
Yeah, I completely agree. And
so like even music is an important aspect as well, because we use music to, you know, to supplement, you know, a lot of things, like the videos and, you know, things that we promote, you know, and it's just it's you know, it's also a necessary, you know, sort of thing, and not just from like a promotional perspective, but like from like a practical perspective, and like you know, kids going to school, and how, you know, they've been cutting like music programs from high schools and stuff like that. That's an important thing because you want those kids to think outside the box, and one of the ways that, you know, they can do that is by expressing themselves through music
and art, like
and
any kind
art
of art
in
form.
general. Yeah, absolutely. So it's like these are important parts of our lives, and they need to be, you know, they need to be supplemented as such, which, you know, it goes back to like government funding, and, you know, how we look at our education system, and how we look at, you know, just, you know, venues, and how, you know, taxes, and how, you know, how that's all distributed and all that stuff. So,
and that's like with schooling and stuff, it's sad, but like the first things that get cut, like the bottom of the barrel things that get cut first, are like art classes and stuff like that, as like people will cut that, but they're focused more on creating athletes and pumping out more possible like prospects that can go on and make a name for their school. Like, oh, this guy went to go play college for this, like this
absolutely
college, and like, oh, he got drafted to be in the NFL. That's another bump for our school. Like, oh, that makes our school look better than this school. And like all they're focused about is more athletics and sport things than they are art. And art just gets swept under the rug, while football just gets the first priority.
That's actually something that I've been very critical of my college lately, because they've started cutting their arts programs to like save money. And it's absolutely been like just very frustrating that this place that I went to school, you know, where I got a great, I mean, it was a small a small art division within the college, but they helped me to expand beyond my help me to take my ideas and create something practical out of them. What was that beeping?
That was my hotspot dying.
Oh,
I
okay.
think.
I thought maybe it was the camera.
So
okay.
I might lose internet here in a minute, but I really don't need it.
Okay. Yeah, it's just like so like it yeah, so they were like taking away these things that helped me become who I am today. And like basically defunding them and getting rid of like courses and stuff like that they deemed unnecessary, like in the humanities and in art and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And basically, everyone's complaint was like, well, why did you spend all this money on like, a football team that doesn't like win then?
Ever,
like,
yeah.
Like if, that money could have gone towards that, towards those programs that people, care about. So it's just, it's very frustrating that's, even, the liberal arts school that I went to was like, stuck in that sort of mindset where they need to promote their things like sports and whatever else. And it's very frustrating.
They use their art department for basically creating art to support their football team. Like, hey guys, graphics arts department, can you make some cool looking things? We need you guys to be good enough to promote our football team.
I mean, that's
which is our first
basically
priority.
a lot of stuff that I did when I was in school, when I worked like in the media department for the school, was we just created a lot of promotional materials for like other parts of the campus. And
you're just working for free for them.
Yeah, sometimes it was like sports stuff. We did some like sports. I don't know if it was like football stuff, but we definitely had some sports videos in there, and just stuff promoting campus activities or stuff that they could put on for. It was a lot of like admission stuff, so they can get more people interested in the school and stuff like that. So, but hey, that's the reason why you don't want to get rid of that, is because it's how are you going to promote it then? Like, how are you going to promote all these things if you don't have the resources to promote it? You're gonna it's all gonna have like a domino effect. So eventually. Yep,
I feel you.
So
even my school, like they cut a few like arts programs and stuff like that just from when I was a freshman to when I was a senior. Like there was so many things that changed over the course of those few years, and I was like, whatever happened to this class? Whatever happened to this class? But nothing ever changed with the sports. All the sports departments always stayed the same. We're always the first priority, no matter what. And then if like something happened with like arts, or they lost a teacher, or like something happened, it was just like kind of just
they swept it under the rug and just moved on and whatnot. It's just it's frustrating when that stuff happens, and I don't know. I think it all depends on. A lot of it just depends on profit, and that's when it comes down to, is like if they're profiting off of this, then that's what they'll keep, and if not, then they don't really care, what kind of interest it garners. It's just at the end of the day, it's about the money. So unfortunately, it should be about the education. About. I mean, that's when it comes down to, it should be about the education. Money shouldn't be a priority, but I guess.
Oh yeah, money is a priority from the highest form of government in this world to the lowest form of it, with being a school. Whether you're a hall monitor or you're the president of the United States, like everything is like everything. The school that you're going to is everything's a money thing. The world, everything's a money thing. That's what, like, me and Dan were actually talking the other day about like how far we think this is going to be a huge shift in conversation right here, but like how far the human race would go, or are we going to die? Is our species going to die on this planet? And like I was saying to him, like the two things keeping us that are like a ball and chain for our species to this planet are money, a little green piece of paper, and religion. Those two things alone are like the things that, like, in politics, honestly, it was religion up until now. Now politics have the world so divided to where nobody can work together as one. And like if like the human race, every person on this planet all had the same goal and the same mindset, without like that fear of like because obviously we're never ever going to like put like space exploration or any interstellar travel or anything like that as our first priority, because like there's no imminent threat knocking at our door right now that's like
we have the Space Force now.
We do. That is a real high priority, which I wonder what's gonna happen to that department now that Trump's not in office. But like, just our priorities as humans are just so like so petty. Like everything that we talk about and worry about, and like things that make the news every day are so petty and like minuscule. That just, if we all like looked at the big picture of like, hey, we could come together and like create something that could get us off this planet, that could like, we could go other places and go farther. But just like, I feel like everything, like even like talking about arts departments and stuff like that, like NASA is probably like the least funded thing that our government has. And like, if it weren't for NASA, we probably wouldn't have touchscreen phones. We wouldn't have all the technology and the things that we have now, because the things that they've tested and worked on in space and all that, it's just crazy. It's crazy to think about.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think the only thing that's going to really like get us to that point is like if we as a human race get backed into a corner and we're facing like some sort of extinction.
And it'll be too late at that point. And we'll be working on a clock, and it'll be like the movie Interstellar, which I feel like watching movies like that, obviously it's a science fiction movie, but they use real things that are happening. They like project what things are going to be like in the future, and like, okay, it's already too late. Now you're working desperately with what materials you do have, with your people dying at mass rates because you're like losing oxygen and your food source, and like there's no people to build something. But if we right now worked on something like that, we could probably go places and go colonize the universe. But I think that a lot of people, I feel like the kill switch, not necessarily the kill switch, but like I feel like the backdoor plan that I feel like a lot of people are working on right now, which this is going to sound like some conspiracy shit, but I feel like AI and like stuff like that is being worked on, because I feel like if we can get robots and things like that to work and like be conscious and like learn and work like humans and improvise, I feel like that's basically our only like future we have. Because if we send something up into space that doesn't need food or anything like that to survive, they can go work and think like people without the things that we need, and those things can live forever as long as they have like some kind of energy source that like obviously we haven't found yet, because everything we have is based on like batteries and gas and things like that. So if we could create something that could work like a human and work together and not have small petty dumb bullshit like politics, religion, things like that, our like species and everything could go off and go find other planets that are habitable, because obviously this planet isn't going to last forever. Nothing's guaranteed. Our planet could be wiped out by a giant meteor next week. And if we had somewhere else to go and had the technology and the people and the manpower, we could already have that option to where if our planet got smashed by a giant asteroid, oh well, that's one world that we used to live on. We have another option to go live somewhere else. Like, but that's just a whole different conversation that I'm not necessarily
or it could just like go
smart
full
enough to have.
Skynet and become self-aware and just kill us all, because we're all idiots anyway.
And that's why I think a lot of those movies are made like that, is because they see like, oh, these humans can't get along because that human is a different color than that human. That's pretty fucking stupid. None of you should be alive. If you guys can't go up there.
I mean,
And like, oh, we can all get along. Us machines can all get along perfectly fine because we all have a goal. We all know that our survival is key. And humans, it's just like, oh yeah, me proving this point to you is like key to me. Like that's all that matters, as long as like I make you look stupid, or if I'm the smartest person in the room. And it's just like, no, if everybody in that room all fucking work together, you could be the smartest group or the smartest species, but we will never be like that, because nobody can ever fucking work together, sadly.
Yeah, it's a nightmare, but oh well, at least we're kind of making a step in the right direction. We'll see how things turn out.
Yeah, I'm hoping the things from this election can kind of,
like, if we could just stop being so selfish, because I think that's part of the problem, is like everybody like gets this selfish idea of like what they think is best for everyone.
Yeah.
And they don't, they don't consider everything.
Yeah.
And that's part of the problem, is like you get these people that just blindly go into, their beliefs and just like think like, well, anyone else is wrong and they shouldn't have an opinion, and we are the, we stand on top of all that. Mm-hmm. So it's just like, I don't know.
Like, this book is fact. Everything in this book that was also written by humans with agendas and motives is perfectly concrete. Like, I have to go by what ancestors told me. Like, we got to live off of this rule book right here. And if anybody else doesn't believe that, you deserve to die.
Let's go off of something that was written thousands of years ago, because I'm sure that applies to everything that's happening today. Mm-hmm. Same thing with the Constitution is like,
I was just about to say it, like the founding fathers and like everything like that. Like, obviously the Constitution itself was like sound and everything up until now, but just like that was also written by like half slave owners, like, and just like,
it's like stuff that like it doesn't apply today, because we have grown as a society since then, so we need to like, we have to follow a different set of rules than like something, stuff that, certain technologies didn't exist that long ago. We have, we aren't as closed-minded as we were in that, in that era. Mm-hmm. And it's just like a lot of stuff, you can't follow a document that's, 300 years old, and it just doesn't apply anymore.
And plus, like, all of the millionaires and billionaires in this entire country have all found loopholes around the Constitution, and they just use the Constitution basically to keep people like us, middle class and like poor people, like just swept under the rug. Like, oh, you have to listen to this, you have to listen to that, but none of them are listening to that. And that's like what is like, they're just using that, throwing it in our face. Like, oh, you have to listen to this, you have to listen to this, you have to do this. But they all find and weasel their way through loopholes and can make millions and billions of dollars. And
like the Trump family.
You mean like Jeff Bezos and Amazon?
Well, that too. Yeah. Jeff Bezos is a big one that really annoys me.
Oh, dude. And the fact that like his wife from the divorce probably made enough to like end world hunger, and just like she's probably like one of the most richest people in the world. And just like that's another thing I don't understand is like people say like they're worried about like socialism and like taxing the rich and stuff like that, and most of the people worried about those kind of things don't make nearly enough money for that to affect them whatsoever. And people just like lick the richest people in the country's boots, and these people like Jeff Bezos wouldn't piss on me or you if we were on fire. Like, they wouldn't do like the least amount of thing to help any of us out. And like, if a fraction of their money, like, do you need that much money to stay alive and to live healthy? You don't. Like, I would live
all
fine.
About like just securing your future. Like, that's what it comes down to, is like you use this money so that you can grow bigger.
Yeah,
like it's
just
like
a power
and
thing.
Make more money.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like at that point it is just power. Is like how powerful can you get, and like
And like you were saying earlier, it's like a big like politics have gotten. It's just like a popularity contest. Like, whoever's more popular should have the most power. It's like, no, that's not how that should go. It should be whoever's like most competent and whoever's like the person who can address the nation the best. Like how we were saying earlier, like how just like Trump and like how he kind of feeds the fire on things. He never once during any of like during his presidency, he never once like really addressed the nation to calm people down or like to like steady anybody down. Like when like events or things happen, he just like came out and was like, oh, we're going to handle everything. We're the best. Like, everything's the best. Everything's fine. Just like kind of just like
downplayed everything.
Downplayed absolutely everything. Coronavirus it's under control. Nothing's going to happen. And like every one of those situations, he ate his words. And there's always like some kind of thing, like his followers always redirect. And they're just like, oh, well, this guy said this. And it's just like, no, the president of our United States is like saying things and doing things, and he's just continually eating his words. Nothing he's saying is aging well. He's never addressing the nation and calm things down. People can say whatever they want about Obama. I voted for Obama. I don't agree necessarily that Obamacare was the greatest thing ever. I don't think anybody thinks that Obamacare was even a good thing, but he knew how to speak publicly, and he knew how to calm the nation down. Like when shit happened, like the Boston bombing, anything happened, he was there to console the nation and just like tell everybody like, hey, everything's going to be okay. We're going to handle this. We're the American people. We're strong together. We're a family, and not just like dog this side or shit on that side. Or
like, I wasn't a fan of George W. Bush when he was president, but at least he like, he knew how to like talk to us like when stuff like 9/11 happened. Like, you know, Trump wouldn't. I mean, God,
I couldn't even imagine how Trump would have handled 9/11.
Yeah, that would.
He would have he would have just been smashing the nuke button, nuking. Like he would have nuked Afghanistan, nuked Iraq, nuked Iran. Like he would have nuked half of the Middle East if something that on that scale happened in today's world. And at least George Bush, obviously, we went to war and deployed people, and whatever happened after that happened. But like what you were saying, George Bush was like a horrible president to us then. But like how Trump has been reacting to everything then, George Bush looks like the smartest man in the world. Yeah. And he handled
everyone's
things.
Just like, you know, I kind of miss George Bush now.
Exactly. Like I'm like I've been like a raised Democrat.
He was like the worst when he was president, and now we're just like, you know what?
Yeah,
I'll take him over.
I miss that guy. Like even like, and I feel like a lot of people just like a lot of people shit on Obama when Obama got reelected because like Trump being elected was like their retaliation.
Yeah.
To Obama being president, they're like, oh well, this guy did this. This guy's gonna do the opposite of all that, and it's just like not everything Obama did was bad. Like you like. He did a lot of like good things for like the environment and shit like that, and Trump just like basically was like, oh, Obama did that, he was a horrible president, I'm gonna undo all that. And it's just like, dude, not everything he did was bad. And like it's dumb. Yeah, the politics are just a losing battle anymore.
In case you're just joining in, this is now a politics podcast.
Yeah, we were talking about how this wasn't going to be about politics when we first started this, but since election week happened, we're kind of just capitalizing off the fact that...
venting off of like what happened in the elections.
Yeah, like me and Steve basically blowing off steam from having to eat Trump's shit and hear him and his supporters just absolutely talk the most shit in the past 4 years. It's kind of nice to, and like obviously like Joe Biden winning the election, I don't want to like go throw anything back in people's faces because I don't care. I don't care. It's just like I was saying earlier, it's nice to be at a point where like I don't have to hear about politics. I don't have to hear about what our president's tweeting and if we're going to go to war with somebody tomorrow over a tweet.
Well, you still got a couple months until you don't have to hear about that. So
yeah,
it's not over. It's the worst is over, but we're still going to hear shit until he is finally out.
Yeah, from now until January, the most lawsuits and the most whining and crying about recounts and voter fraud is going to be talked about, and it's just the most ridiculous.
I mean, he hasn't even seceded yet.
Yeah, like, and he's probably not going to. He's just going to just chill there and be like, oh, you have to kick me out, take me out, kick me and scream me.
Yeah, we're going to find a way to figure out how this election was a fraud and blah, blah. And I'm just like, oh, God damn it. Just let it be over.
Yeah, just like the last election was like, all they talked about was like, oh my God, everything's rigged. The election's rigged. But when he won, he's like, oh my God, a great day for democracy. Justice is served. It's like, oh wow, just because you won, the election wasn't rigged. And then they talked about like all the Russian collusion and all that stuff afterwards, which like I really didn't care about. And like I didn't even vote in the 2016 election because I didn't think that Hillary Clinton was a viable. I could not tell myself that Hillary Clinton was a viable candidate.
That was part of the problem with the election is like nobody wanted to vote for Hillary Clinton. Yeah. I think that's what really screwed the country.
Yeah, honestly. And like they put in Joe Biden, who was like probably like the most plain Jane guy ever, and like everybody
look
was
at this white bread dude.
Yeah, everybody's like, oh my God, that's not Hillary Clinton up there. Okay, take my vote. Like it's not Bernie, but it's also not Hillary Clinton.
Not the radical crazy white guy, but the normal white guy.
Yeah, the regular plain Jane white guy who we've already had an experience with of having 8 years of just boring nothingness.
Him just standing behind Obama the whole time, just
exactly,
like giving him a thumbs up and
just smelling some hair here and there, like hey, you know, whatever.
Being a part of a whole meme movement.
Exactly,
and. I hope they bring back the Biden memes.
They're already back. I've been seeing so many things on Instagram, and that's like my home is Instagram. That's like my favorite social media platform, just mostly because it's content based and it's not opinion based. Facebook is like.
That's true. I love Instagram because it's more content than opinions.
Yep, and that's why you will see me on Instagram more than you will see me on Facebook.
Facebook's just a giant trash, like just a burning dumpster. Like all the time, and I just don't want to go.
And I feel like a reason why Instagram is so nice is because you don't see old people and boomers on Instagram. Instagram was like kind of like a millennial, like when that came out, all the millennials and all the creators and the influencers immediately pivoted like, oh my God, I can like make a career off of posting pictures of myself. Hell yeah. And like old people didn't want anything to do with that. So when you get on Instagram,
even Twitter's not as bad. Like, I mean, granted, Trump's on Twitter, but like,
I feel like that probably raked in a lot of boomers. Is whenever Trump became president, and like everybody was like, "Oh, I got to follow the news. I have to get Twitter to follow the news," and people just wanted to sit there and refresh and just get that nonstop feed of, oh, what's my favorite person doing? What's my president doing? And it's just
But
like,
it's
oh my
just
God.
like, at least people kind of keep their opinions to themselves more than like say Facebook. Facebook is just like, it's just like, Facebook has turned into like a podium for any individual who just wants to spew their thoughts on things. And like I guess like Twitter's like that too, but Twitter is a little more, I want to say
it gets buried faster.
It's more neutral because it's just like, it's a lot more information, like just people throwing out like, these like one line, thoughts about stuff, and then it just immediately gets buried by everything else. Where Facebook is like people were just like typing essays on like, their thoughts and like, their hatred and spewing like all sorts of like, linking random like articles that have no source or no, like conspiracy stuff and what, I don't know. It's just,
I mean, Instagram and Twitter, everybody has that, but I feel like Instagram has way less of it. I feel like it's harder to find that kind of bullshit. Like when you get on Facebook, there's like people trying to like buy you into pyramid schemes and like everything like that. Like everybody from your hometown from high school is like always trying to hit you up and stuff about something.
Tried to get me roped into a pyramid scheme like years ago. Somebody I went to college with, like it was the weirdest. He tried to like sell it as like it was gonna like help me grow my video business or something like that. So I actually like believed him at first because I'd never like really been in a pyramid scheme. So I like went to this like seminar thing, which I thought was just like an information thing. And it was just like, as soon as I walked in, like this guy was just like, oh, well, you buy into this, you pay so much money, and then you go and like start recruiting other people to pay this money. And I was like, oh my God, this is a pyramid scheme. And I just like immediately walked out. I was like, nope.
I fell into that fresh out of high school. I was working at a Dairy Queen here in Washington, and one of my friends was working for this company where they sold kitchen sets.
Yeah.
And like I went there and checked it out, and like they did the demonstration to me, which I was basically being trained to go do in other people's houses. And like he was showing me, he's like, oh, check out this piece of rope. Grab me your sharpest knife out of your kitchen. Yeah, here's my sharpest knife. Oh, it can't cut rope. Check this out. Check out my steak knife. And he just like cuts through it with one thing. So the product was sick, but just like the way that they were like making you their practice, I guess you could say, like the way that you had to go sell this was kind of creepy. Like they'd be like, oh yeah, write down all your family and friends on this notebook and stuff like that. And then like you go into their houses and make appointments and stuff like that. And you make $15 per appointment, but you make like a certain percentage if you sell. So like you kind of push them. You want to push the sell because you make more money. So you make people feel bad for you and make them want to buy it. And I'm just like, I don't know. And I just got to a point where I sold a good bit, but I just didn't, like they were starting to like push some more. They were like, oh, well, if they say no, like say this. And they were just like trying to get me to twist people's arms to like be a snake. And I was just like, I'm not that kind of person. I'm not going to like go into people's houses and make them feel uncomfortable and pressure them into buying something that they don't necessarily need that costs a ton of money. Even though it was a good product, still just like their practice and the way they went about it. And then I got an email probably 2 years ago saying there was a big class action lawsuit on the company that it was a pyramid scheme. They're like, oh, come on down and like jump on in the pyramid scheme. Everybody's suing this company. And I'm like, I don't want $15 to go take a day off of work to go participate in whatever bullshit you're doing. Just whatever. I made money off of them.
At that point.
Yeah, I made more money off of them than I lost money because I sold some kitchen sets. So like, it's whatever. They compensated me for my time. So like, I just whatever.
Yeah, I've worked sales jobs like that before where it's just like they set it up in sort of like a in like tiers that you sell things in like tiers. And like I did a couple months at like a retail photography studio, and it was like the worst job I've ever had in my life. I was like, oh yeah, photography, this will be great. Like I can get creative experience and stuff like that. It's all it is about selling stuff. Like that's all they care about is you making good sales. Like they couldn't give two shits about how the pictures look as long as you're selling them. And then you just feel awful when you like sit down with these people to like sell them stuff because you're basically just you have to follow this rule book and like to the T. And it's basically just you trying to like scam these people out of like loads of money that these pictures are not worth. and you feel terrible for it. And then they treat, this company. I mean, this company doesn't even exist anymore because they like went bankrupt, and like thankfully, because they were a shitty company. But yeah, and then they closed down all their stores, and but they basically they treated their employees like shit. They didn't pay them very well, and then like they made their employees treat their customers like shit, so they were paying more money and like feel bad if they're not paying, like make them seem like they're getting good deals out of stuff even though they're paying a buttload of money for stuff they don't need. And it's just like it's terrible how yeah, it's just like, I don't know, just like stuff like that. It's just like, how is it so hard to have like a moral compass? Like when you're doing a job, like
pretty hard anymore, apparently.
Like, again, it just goes back to our conversation about it's all about money anymore. Like, it's just, oh God, best day ever was when I quit that job.
Oh yeah.
I just texted my coworker and I was like, yeah, I'm not coming in. I'm done with this.
Yep. I've been there before. My last job before my carpeting job was my worst job I've ever had, both physically and mentally. It was just going to work every day, doing that hard labor and being talked down to basically by my boss and stuff. When I'm doing everything, I was just like, fuck this. I can't do this. And the best day ever was when I just threw all my shirts and threw all my shit in his truck and was just like, fuck you, I quit. And it was like, I already had my new job lined up. So it's not like I was just like falling flat on my ass. Like I had a plan. I planned behind his back and was just like, all right, I'm getting my last paycheck. The day I get paid is the day I'm quitting. That Monday, next after the weekend, I start my new job. Swift transition.
That's such a good feeling.
And it was the best feeling because I was like, fuck you, I quit. And it was just like, oh, great feeling.
Yeah. I was like, when I was working my gas station job while I was still freelancing, and like my day, I had it all planned out for my new job, and the day I quit was just like the best day ever because I'm just like throwing it all in my face, and like the shitty like managers that I worked for, and just like, yeah, I never have to see any of you again in my life, and good luck like finding someone to do this crappy job. And
yep, exactly.
Like,
feels good.
Like, I don't know, that really needs to, that's another thing, is like they really need to reevaluate those types of jobs, because they just,
oh yeah,
like they don't,
super underpaid.
Yeah, super underpaid, overworked, and then they're also underappreciated because people are just like, oh, well, they don't need to make that much money for a job like that.
Yeah.
Like, why do you need to be paid $15 an hour to like make food? And it's like,
yeah, like time is money. Time is money. Like if I'm
like, I've worked that job, I know what it's like. It's not.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure, like, you don't need an education to do a job like that, but it's not about that. It's about like busting your ass and just feeling like shit after a shift like that is just the worst. And then getting yelled at by people because you didn't do something right, and like,
yeah, you shouldn't be getting paid a rate that was being paid in the 90s, like $7.25 an hour to like stay alive or to feed your family or to feed somebody when you're in like 2020, because like inflation, like everything costs way more now than it did then.
I mean, it's not,
but just the rate of fucking what is it, minimum wage is so low, and the cost of everything else is so high. It's just like
it's not just that. It's just like the way we see those jobs is so different now than in the 90s. Like, you don't, I mean, I don't think people, at least as much, like trashed on like fast food jobs and stuff like that as like these, these grunt jobs, and because people could still use them as like a livable wage job. And now it's just like, well, it's like these jobs don't matter. They don't need to be paid anything. And it's just like it's such a cyclical effect, or like just keeps going in like a cycle.
It's just like they consider it like a teenager job. Like, oh, you go get that job when you're 15, work until you're 18, until you're out of high school, and as soon as you're out of high school, you got to go to college to go get a degree, to go get your career job. Which it's like, okay, if you don't get that career job, you're stuck with like an insurmountable amount of debt.
Yeah,
it's just like,
and that's the other thing is just like it's. That even a college degree these days isn't worth as much as it used to be.
Yep.
And like you're not guaranteed like a good job out of college. I mean, I didn't get a good job right out of college.
Yeah.
You know,
you got to know someone. You got to know someone now.
Yeah, you basically
have to have
in,
like an in.
You have to be in that industry. You have to have good standings with a business that you may have done like an internship with, or like you know, just
and even internships. Somebody could come in who's the boss knows the dad or something like that, and if you're doing an internship with some other kid who knows somebody, that kid's gonna win 100% of the time because he knows somebody. Like their family is friends with the business owner.
Like it's that nepotism type of mindset that you know these businesses tend to have, and it's
all about who you know anymore.
It's like, oh well, it makes things easier if we can just hire somebody that we kind of know, and instead of just like going through all these candidates that are more qualified. I mean, that takes too much time. You know?
Yeah,
it's like
I feel
it's
you.
a frustrating thing, but well, we've been going for a while.
How long?
About an hour and a half.
Oh, okay.
Did you have anything you wanted to promote other than
I mean, if I'm
music that you're working on?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm promoting something, I would tell people. Well, the first most relevant thing I would tell people to go check out is the new Space Weather music video we did for Dancing Demons. Tony hired a dude, Clint Tustin. Dude plays guitar for the Galactic Empire, that Star Wars metal band.
Okay.
And I think he's a stand-in touring artist for Baby Metal, I think he was saying.
Okay.
Which is like kind of huge. And he was just awesome to work with. He does like a lot of stuff. He does like work with like August Burns Red. Like he's been doing like some drum playthroughs with Matt Greener and shit like that. Dude's
cool. Super
good at what he does. I might be hitting him up for doing some Nephele work too, for like a music video or something down the road. Obviously doing some stuff with you, doing some stuff with him, like working between the two. Just like seeing the stuff that he did was really cool.
Yeah.
But the Space Weather music video, we got a new Nephele song coming out in like the next month or two. Got a new Nephele album being in like the production state right now. We are working on making demos. We have 4 songs, 4 pretty long songs. That's what we're all about, is making long ass songs. And I think we're gonna have some vocal features on this new album.
Cool.
Which will be cool. I feel like we're trying to experiment with that. Gonna have some features from some big names.
Nice.
So yeah, that's what I would promote, is the new Space Weather music video. And obviously go check out our most recent album, Solidarity, Nephele's most recent album, Solidarity. We worked really, really hard on getting that album out, and obviously worked with you for getting the guitar playthrough video, which we loved, out. And yeah, that's basically it.
Where can people find like more about the video and the album?
I got a link in our Instagram bio, and like I got links, like basically our YouTube channel.
Okay.
If you can. Basically, if anybody typed in like one word, Nephele Band, NEPHELE BAND, like in one word, you'll find everything, because I've locked that down, that tag, and everything. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Big Cartel, everything that we have is Nephele Band. Cool. So if you type that in and can find anything about that, that's us.
Awesome.
And Space Weather is a little hard to find because there's actually stuff about space weather, like actual space weather, like NASA. There's like more NASA things you will find when you search space weather. But if you dig hard enough, if you look up the most recent album, like Space Weather EP, like self-titled EP, I guess it's even harder to find the initial Space Weather EP because it's self-titled. So you're just like Space Weather. It's like, you just kind of got to look up song names.
If you type in EP after Space Weather, that might narrow it down more.
Yeah. I mean, the name of the channel is called Space Weather. If you type in like a song name off the EP, like Dancing Demons, which is the name of our most recent video that we come out, if you find that, you'll narrow the search down and find the channel, everything else. It's a little more easier that way.
Okay. And how about if people want to just learn more about just you?
There's not really much to know, much to learn about me, other than the amount of memes I share on Facebook or on Instagram, which my Instagram handle is Hornehub, HORNEHUB. It's
perfect.
Little pun for my last name, which people either love or hate, but I love it because it's hilarious.
Yes, I love it too.
But
never change it.
That's basically it.
Cool. All right. Well, appreciate you taking the time to do this. We definitely talked about some good shit today. So
yeah, a lot of controversial things that people will probably
definitely
shit on us for.
Definitely a lot of hot takes, but it's it's whatever. It's like this podcast can range anywhere from pretty neutral to like getting in the thick of things and not caring about, people who oppose the opinions, because it's just like, it's whatever. It's my podcast. I'll do whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah, exactly. That's what all people's podcasts and stuff are for, is expressing your voice. And your opinion,
if you don't like what I'm talking about, then don't listen to the podcast. It's
exactly.
as simple as that.
And if you do like what you're listening to, share and tell your friends about Steve's Decipher Media Podcast.
Yeah, that's correct. Thank you. I appreciate the little bump there.
I don't know how I just pulled that from the hip. I don't know how I just remembered all that in the back of my head, but I sure did.
So, yeah. All right. And I will see you around. So, yeah. Awesome.